So the building behind me is called Cathays Park 1. It houses the Welsh Government. It was designed by a Mr. Allison in 1914. I believe he laid the first cornerstone, and then it wasn't built then because a war came along, World War I came along, and it wasn't built then until 1934 to 1938. It was a total of 20 years later, and in that time they only had the foundation stone laid. So 20 years later, that's when this building came along. Absolutely fantastic, neoclassical design, just wonderful to look at. And then the building behind, that looks more, well, it was described once as bureaucracy under siege. Now that was completed in 1979, and it's got a certain charm to it. It's also used for the Welsh Government. It's a massive building. That's a 5-story building in the background. I believe this is a 3-story building in the foreground, but they do have use of the attic and the basement, so I imagine you could also call that a 5-story building. Both connected. When we went past initially, I don't know whether you noticed the skywalk that connects the two of them. There are rumours that skywalk is haunted. Oh yes, believe it. And then what else could I say about the place? Other than it's just fantastic to look at, and it does house the Welsh Government. It used to house the Welsh Office, and the Welsh Office was basically responsible for most of the things that the Welsh Government are responsible for now. But the Welsh Office was disbanded or dissolved in 1999, and all the powers went to the Senedd. Those powers also contained, if I can just get my glasses on, I'll quickly read to you what those powers contained and now belong to the Senedd, or in the Senedd. Let's have a look. So the Welsh Office, as it was responsible for agriculture, transport and planning, environmental group, Welsh Office Health Department, Economic Development Group, Establishment Group, Finance Group, Education Department, Health Professionals Group, Industry and Training Group, Legal Group and Local Group Government. But all that was administered from over in England. Basically that was all under the direction of Westminster, and now it's back to us under our lead minister is Mark Drakeford. He's the top man on the first minister for the Welsh Government. And in the Welsh Government there are 14 people that actually dictate what happens with our government and pass that instruction down to the other ministers to enact. These 14 ministers are as follows: Mark Drakeford, then we have Rebecca Evans, she's Minister for Finance; Vaughan Gethin, he's Minister for Health and Social Services; Leslie Griffiths, Minister for Environment, Energy and Rural Affairs; Julie James, Minister for Housing and Local Government; Jeremy Miles, Minister for European Transition; Ulinid Morgan, I didn't pronounce her name correctly, but I'm not going to even try again. She's Minister for International Relations and Welsh Language. Ken Skates, he's Minister for Economy, Transport and North Wales. Kirsty Williams, she's Minister for Education. Hannah Blythe, she's Deputy Minister for Housing and Local Government. Then we have David Ellis Thomas, he's Deputy Minister for Culture, Sport and Tourism. Jane Hutt, Deputy Minister and Chief Whip. Julie Morgan, Deputy Minister and Health and Social Services, and Lee Waters, he's the Deputy Minister for Economy and Transport. So in that 14 you have all different parties make up the government. You also have the Economy and Transport Ministers and the Environment and Energy and Rural Affairs. You have people here that you would think would want to prevent a second lockdown, but a second lockdown is going ahead. Now for most people that's crippling, and it's going to do businesses right in. But these people that I just mentioned, these 14 ministers that make up government, they're okay. Don't worry about them, because they're all on a minimum this is, of a £67,649 salary. And then on top of that, and the First Minister, Mark Drakeford, his salary is a little more than that. His salary is £147,983 per year. So these guys, don't worry about them, they'll be fine. Just worry about yourselves, I imagine, because we won't be fine. I certainly won't be fine if there's no work to be done. How are we meant to pay mortgages? It's already been a lockdown for so long, it's crippled businesses. The economy is really suffering, and now here comes another, let's impose more restrictions. They could have done this a better way. Anyway, I mentioned that these ministers are all on a minimum of £67,650. Well, shall I just read out some of the expenses that were claimed over the last 2 years? Oh, in fact, it's 1 year, but it's from 2 years ago. So these are the 2018 to 2019 figures. They call it staffing expenditure. Now, I'm not sure if they pay their secretaries out of this wage or expenditure, or if it's their own expenditure, so their own expenses. But either way, this is more money that's being taken from the system by these 14. So they're all already on a really decent wage. Come on, let's say this: £67,650. By Christ, anyone can live on that wage. That's just a great wage. So they're already on a great wage. And then they go ahead and claim, well, First Minister, he claimed an extra £99,083.40 in 1 year, on top of his £147,983. There's got to be a better way, guys. These guys are so ludicrously expensive. They are just taken from the gravy train, and then they're locking the likes of me down and the likes of everybody else for a virus that is, yes, I agree, it's here, but do you see swathes of the population going under from it? I don't. They'll say that's due to the lockdown, but I think it's just a control mechanism. And I don't know who it benefits, but it's crippling me, and it's crippling the rest of the economy, and it's crippling the rest of the people that want to just earn a wage. So get your act together, guys. Let me reel off a few more expensive. Let me try Vaughan Gethin, since he's the health minister. Vaughan Gethin, from 2018 to 2019, on top of his £67,000 wage, he claims £101,823.91. So his wage has suddenly jumped from 67,000 to 169,000 or thereabouts. Just ridiculous. Anyway, I hope that was an eye-opener. They're all like that, by the way, all on my list. All these 14 government ministers, they all claim in the 90s, thousands every year. As I say, I'm not 100% sure what that's for, whether it goes to pay for more staff for them, or whether it's just for their personal expenses. But either way, it's a ridiculous amount of money, and that's being taken out of what's supplied for the rest of us. And now we're all on lockdown, or we will be from 2 hours from now. So there we are. just do what we say and ignore us while we roll around in the trough. Yes. Anyway, that's my little rant for the day. Thank you. I'll take a few more photos of the building just round the side, and yeah, thank you very much. Bye.